much too complex, too complex, much too complex, too complex, too complex, too complex.
Good afternoon. My name is James K. Holder II. Some of you may know me as Sir James II. I'd like to welcome you back to Not on My Watch. As always, I'd like to ask you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I want you to retweet this and repeat this. If you are watching, today is April 26th, a Thursday, and I'm sad to report that Kanye West doesn't care about black people. The former rapper appeared in a series of tweets this week praising and announcing and professing his effusive love and adoration for Donald Trump. I don't even remember the number of tweets that came out, but it's been a top story in the cycle, and I just want to talk about that for a moment. A big part of the problem that many people have with Kanye West's position on Donald Trump is that it seems to be rooted in this space of celebrating mania, right? If we're talking about it, it's not, mental health awareness is very important. No one should be making fun of or jokes about someone's mental state. But it seems very apparent that Kanye West is a person of highs and lows. You can say that's manic depressive. You could say he potentially is schizophrenic. Who knows? I'm not a psychiatrist, but what I am saying is that Kanye West has a documented presentation of this, where he goes away for a long period of time. He's obviously experienced a lot of trauma in his life. Being married into the Kardashian family is a trauma on its own, but separately losing his mother at a fairly young age, especially in such she wasn't sick when she passed away. She died, 2008? I think she was getting a surgery done, and then she passed away, an elective surgery at that. So he has faced severe trauma in his life, and he's said on his own that he's never really taken time to process it. But if we look at it, his rants now are basically streamlined attacks on Barack Obama and the Democratic Party. His alignment with Donald Trump seems to be, it's not out of nowhere. I mean, you got to think, I guess Caitlyn Jenner would be Kanye West's father-in-law, stepfather-in-law, stepmother. I don't know exactly how that terminology works out. But Kanye West and Caitlyn Jenner are connected. Caitlyn Jenner is a huge Donald Trump fan, despite the fact that she is a representative of the LGBT community. For better or for worse, Kanye West is having, a big part of why many people know who Kanye West is because of his statement about George Bush doesn't care about black people after Hurricane Katrina. And so I think it's odd that after so many displays, right, we've seen what happened in Puerto Rico since then. So to have the Puerto Rico debacle happen, to have shithole countries happen, to have all of the negative things Donald Trump has done against black people come up, and then Kanye West to now say, oh, he loves Donald Trump despite what the mob will say. I think many black people, and I've dealt with this type a lot, when you run in the creative circles or you run in the intelligentsia where people like to place themselves, you can't really get credit for saying the same thing everybody else is saying. You have to step outside of the box. You have to be different if you want to get any credit for being the one who discovered it and who was really right all along. So Kanye West was onto something when he said George Bush doesn't care about black people, because regardless of how we feel about George Bush now, the stain on George Bush's, the greatest stain on George Bush's legacy besides the invasion of Iraq is Hurricane Katrina, in my opinion, when it comes to the black community. You can take everything else in the Republican agenda that he did and put that in a box of That's what GOP does. But his response in Hurricane Katrina was not acceptable. So Kanye West calling that out was very much appreciated and truthful. It did go against the system, and it was independent thinking. It was free thinking for him to say that and take the opportunity in the forum that he did to say it. I don't think that that's the case now. I really don't believe that anything you say on Twitter can be documented as a free thinking moment, because Twitter didn't exist in 2005 when Kanye West made those comments about George Bush. You really would have had to be on television to be, even if you were famous or not, to have an impact of a statement like that resonate in the way that that statement did. So this whole I'm a free thinker because I rant on Twitter, we have to stop trying to pretend that that's like some groundbreaking or transformative expression. It really isn't. It's just something that you tweeted and you typed with your thumbs. No proofreader, no editor, nothing. That's not forward thinking. There was no one who, reviewed it. It doesn't work that way. And so I really don't believe that we should be giving credit for people as free thinking. I also think it's horrible that many, they're already fundraising off of Kanye West now. They're selling hats off of Kanye West. He tweeted his autographed Donald Trump Make America Great Again hat with a bunch of flame emojis. I don't know if that might have sparked or been a part of some other, Gemini bromance that they have going on. I really don't know. All I know is that it's disturbing, and it's really evolved to beyond Barack Obama, but it seems like Kanye West is just simply out of control. John Legend publicly spoke out about the issue of people like him who have a platform using it to advocate for people like Donald Trump. Didn't mention Kanye. He texted Kanye directly. He has his phone number. Wrote this message. It was very nice, very sincere. Kanye West writes back, "You're trying to control me." I mean, I'm paraphrasing. And then posted online. And it's just kind of like, you really aren't looking to engage in a conversation. You aren't looking to spark a dialogue. You look at Kanye West's Twitter page, and he has about 30 million followers, and that's a whole nother conversation. He has about 30 million followers, and then he only follows Kim Kardashian. So my thing is, who are you getting information on politics from? Like, where is your source? Do you follow the news at all? Do you follow politics at all? And it's kind of like these celebrities who have these stages to talk about the conscious issues because they're going against the common sense candidates like Hillary Clinton. Take Susan Sarandon, for instance. Susan Sarandon was vehemently against Hillary Clinton becoming president. But she hadn't even researched Donald Trump's policies before she talked about Hillary Clinton being more dangerous than Donald Trump. She was simply repeating things that were, glorified in certain circles. And I think that's dangerous. And many people fall for that. Colin Kaepernick did it. Someone's calling me, and I have to mute this. Colin Kaepernick did it. We had, I don't even need to go into the list. There were a lot of people who did this in the 2016 election, and it's really not good, even though people like Colin Kaepernick have amazing contributions to the culture, amazing contributions to society. It really isn't something that should be overlooked, because this isn't the first time this has happened, especially with Kanye West. He already met with Trump in Trump Tower after the election, and this is after Kanye West admits to not having voted in 2016, but said that he would have voted for Donald Trump. Then he recanted everything. Then he went to go meet with Donald Trump. Now he's back on the Trump train, and they're fundraising off of him. And this is around the time that Kanye West is about to drop a new album. And I'm just like, I won't be listening to that album. I hope that he gets the help that he needs, because it's really sad. Kim Kardashian does not have the capacity to reel that man in. On the day that he's releasing these tweet rants about Obama and how Obama hasn't done anything for Chicago. Now, mind you, Kanye West has been rich and famous since longer than Barack Obama was even in the Senate, the U.S. Senate. So my thing is, what could Barack Obama have done that you haven't done in Chicago? Kim Kardashian is posting pictures of her naked body to sell perfume. And it's just kind of like, what is going on in this household? Is it a household? I don't know. And I'm not into their personal lives like that. I don't watch the show. But I really do feel sorry for the kids. I feel sorry for their whole brand is just somewhat toxic at this point. And Kim really needs to focus a bit more on getting Kanye the help that he needs because they are in an unstable place. Chance the Rapper comes to the defense of Kanye West. And it's kind of like, but Chance, it's frustrating when Chance the Rapper did it because he seemed to be the one who had some sensibility about the whole thing. He worked with the Obamas. He did voter registration, presumably to get people to vote for Hillary Clinton. And it's kind of like now for you to come out and claim that black people don't have to be Democrats, that's not something that needs to be said. I think when you create this atmosphere where the default we know is that black people tend to support democratic policies, suggesting that it's okay to not do that, it's kind of like a slap in the face to all the people who have put the work in to move those numbers so that we can have support in certain legislation. The GOP does not support legislation that's good for black people. And it bothers me when people come to the offense and say, oh, well, what have Democrats done for black people? And it's kind of like if you haven't been paying attention in the last 40 years to understand the messaging broadly. Now, not everything that the Democrats have done has been great for black people, but certainly it's in opposition to the GOP with regard to black people. So this idea that the Democrats haven't done anything or that black people shouldn't by default support Democrats, I think it's rough. And when the people saying that black people don't need to support Democrats are straight, rich, famous black men, it becomes doubly offensive because they don't really have much to lose. It's kind of like they're all O.J. Simpson. They all live in this fictitious world with their white women wives and their TV shows or, all the other things that they do, and they get to just go, black people can vote for whoever they want, it doesn't matter. But really, you're benefiting from those tax breaks that they give, like the tax scam. People like Killer Michael, people like Cornel West might be broke right now, I don't know. But people like that benefit when Republicans win. So even if their messaging is off or not, I understand Chance might want to defend his friend, but no, some of that stuff doesn't have to be said. I really just believe, so Chance the Rapper's canceled, Kanye West is canceled, Kim Kardashian West has been canceled. I really do think that Kanye West is still just salty that Barack Obama calls him a jackass. I think he's not over it, and I think he needs to get the fuck over it at this point. Moving right along, we've got Bill Cosby. Speaking of just problematic ass, rich, straight, black men who are too famous and think they're God or invincible. Thank God Bill Cosby was found guilty. Now this is against 62 accusers who have accused him of sexual assault and indecency. I'm not sure of the exact charge, but he faces 30 years in jail. Now, Bill Cosby, an 80-something-year-old blinding man, and some people say he's not blind, some people say he was faking it. I don't know. I don't know what the best course is for Bill Cosby. I'm not a judge in Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. I'll let them decide that. I don't know. Y'all have to figure that one out. But they tried to, many people in the court tried to say that he was a flight risk, that he shouldn't have bail, that he should be sentenced to jail and go to jail immediately from court and because he has a plane. And Bill Cosby's like, I don't have a plane. Like, you're literally just applying things to me. You're making things up so that it seems like I'm more of a risk of fleeing when I've been to every court case that's been held against me. I haven't skipped any dates. I haven't tried to, So I don't know. I'm not defending Bill Cosby. I'm glad he was found guilty. I hope that all of the accusers now, because of their surer footing, can now sue him civilly and really take his ass to the cleaners and get all the money that their heart's content. That would be the ideal justice for me. And yes, he should face some fines, some jail time. I think he can't be trusted to really do anything like lighter, like community service. But even if he goes to jail, he's not going to something like, he's going to one of those Martha Stewart type jails. He's not going to serve hard time. So I just feel like, what's the difference? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But it does raise that broader question of how do we treat our heroes? People like Kanye West that we celebrate for so often, for so long. People like Chance the Rapper. Or not, and Chance the Rapper is not in the same category, nor is Kanye West of a Bill Cosby. These are two completely different things. Saying you like Donald Trump is not like raping 60 women with drugs. Let's just be clear about that. But how do you treat your heroes when they disappoint you? Or when they break the law? Which brings me to Nas and Khalees. Now, I will say, I've always been a bigger Khalees fan than Nas. Earlier today, I saw a part of a clip where Khalees admits to having been abused by Nas, her ex-husband. She doesn't really specify that was the reason that they were no longer together. She doesn't really specify that. She really seemed very apologetic about the whole thing, saying that she contributed, and I really was uncomfortable the more I saw her interview. But she talked about this sort of surreal moment where the photos of Rihanna came out. And on that evening, she's watching the news about Rihanna having been abused by Chris Brown, and then realizing that she's covered in bruises herself. And she's just like looking at Nas like, okay, well, should I jump into this? Or he's looking at her like, are you gonna say anything? Like, and it really is this strange dichotomy. I mean, I think Khalees seems very, I don't know, she doesn't seem like she was fazed by the whole thing. And maybe she hasn't come to grips of it, I don't know. Because of the admission, to me, I'm putting Nas in the same abuser category that I put Chris Brown and R. Kelly and now Bill Cosby in. And Kanye West, I don't know him to be an abuser, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was abusive at this point, because those things seem to go in line with each other. But again, until I see something, Kanye West is in a different category. I put Kanye West in a Shania Twain category, which is like, okay, I might still rock with your hits, but I'm not buying your new album, I'm not playing you, I'm not gonna watch you on SNL, I'm not gonna support the things that you continue to aspire to do. And I think we're in a space in 2018 where we're at risk of losing the heroes that we even have. We have Joy Reid, who is a stellar journalist. Really the only name in news that I trust. Earlier this year, it was revealed that past blog posts of Joy Reid's took a swing at a legislator who, though he has now since come out to be gay, at the time that he was in office and Joy reported on him via her blog, he was very much understood to be someone who was in the closet, but also championed anti-LGBT legislation. So Joy, in a tongue-in-cheek way, would poke fun at the fact that he was basically thought to be gay and yet ironically worked against the gay rights agenda. Now, because of that dialogue back and forth, Joy Reid has apologized to this person. This person has forgiven Joy for it. It seems like everything has moved on except the purity popsicle politicians and pundits of the far left, who seem to be waging a war against Joy Reid because primarily she doesn't really support Bernie Sanders and she doesn't let Bernie Sanders slide on his agenda. So Kat Halps and those people, Killer Michael, all the people on the far left who are so far up Bernie Sanders behind that they just find solace in attacking black voices online, including my own. That was the ultimate reason for me having my voice silenced on my original Twitter page. The same mechanism, the same force that's behind silencing us is behind Joy Reid now. More blog posts have surfaced since Joy Reid admitted to having made those comments, and Joy Reid is now saying that the site was hacked, that someone went back and doctored old posts and made them appear as though she had said things that were worse than what she said than she already admitted to. And so everything's under review. MSNBC doesn't know what they're going to do. They have a pending investigation. They haven't taken her off the air yet, but it's very serious. The FBI is involved. The FBI has agreed to investigate the matter. Joy Reid is cooperating with the FBI. And it's just, you really have to wonder, who is really offended by what she posted? Is there this big coalition of gay LGBT people who thinks Joy Reid is the greatest threat to, television, as Donald Trump is, banning trans people from the military and saying that protections that Barack Obama put in for trans people's health rights are now revoked? I don't know that Joy Reid is the greatest threat to the community right now. But again, that purity is going to be what dissolves all of us. Speaking of purity, or impure, whatever, Kim Zolciack is a racist. This doesn't fit into the format, but I'm just going to talk about this briefly. As a person from Atlanta, someone who's been a fan of the show for a very long time, it's been on for 10 seasons, and it's really time to just admit, Kim Zolciack has proven time and time again that she holds racist views, is not above making racist statements. And what makes Kim a racist is that she is on television. She does promote herself as a wealthy trendsetter and white woman and example on television. She promotes herself as a leader in the community. And she has a platform in her own TV show and a very popular television series online, on Bravo. So it's kind of like, if Bravo is going to be the network that is pro-LGBT, inclusive, you have to at least acknowledge what's going on. And the problem I have with Kim is that every year there's something comes up with an accusation of racism or insensitivity, right? There was the Deshaun, I didn't want to go to Deshaun's house and eat chicken and sit around and eat chicken. Did I think that was racist on its own? No. Then you add the Sweetie stuff, her barking orders at her assistant, Sweetie. On its own, if it was somebody else doing that, if somebody was talking very aggressive, if a white person is talking very aggressively to their black assistant, does that constitute racism on its own? Probably not. But again, when you bring it up and say, okay, this is why this is offensive, this is why you shouldn't do it. Oh, don't be ridiculous. You're just reaching, and I don't see color, I never have. That's the response of a racist, period. You don't want to take any responsibility. You don't want to acknowledge that your words are hurtful or offensive, and you continue on and contribute to the same behaviors. The Brielle thing with the roaches, water bugs, whatever. That was the stupidest argument. But what kept it going is that Kim kept bringing it up. It was just such a hot topic for her. She had nothing else, and that's what she kept reverting to. That was her storyline. And so, to me, it's like, whether she dislikes black people or not, whether she would engage in discriminatory housing practices or not, you look at the way she treats black people. When she worked with Candy on Tardy for the Party, she basically built Candy out of thousands of dollars. She didn't think it was worth it to pay Candy. The person who sold her house and furnished her house for her, she built this person out of thousands of dollars of value. She didn't think it was worth it to pay this person. She mistreated Sweetie on television. She made all these claims about Nene's house when she was a guest, a plus one, a guest of a guest in Nene's house. She wasn't even invited to the house by Nene. She went into Mbele's place and disrespected Mbele. Didn't follow the rules. It wasn't worth it for Kim to follow Mbele's rules in her own place of business as far as putting the phone away. So again, when you just look at the sheer disrespect and the commonality, it's kind of like, Kim, is she just a disrespectful person? Or is it a pattern where she continually involves herself with black women, black people that she can gain something from, and then when it's time to pay up, she just flips out on the bill, and then it becomes this, I didn't need you anyway. Candy, you were lucky to work with me because you really wanted to sleep with me anyway. And Bele, you're lucky to have me in your center because I'm really gifted. I'm more gifted than you. I have spiritual powers too. It's always the same thing, and it's always about a one-upping thing. Maybe it's about race, maybe it's not. I don't know. I think she's racist. And I think the white people and even some black people who are defending Kim just simply don't know what racism is. You don't know what to look for in those signs. And you're not interested in engaging in real meaningful dialogue about racism, ending racism, confronting it, or challenging it. And so you just default to, I don't recognize this as racism, so it's not racism. And I think that's the wrong answer. I think if asked about whether this is racism or not and you don't understand, it's okay to say that you don't understand. I have questions for Kim. I'm not clear. Kim, I like Kim, but yes, she's foul on a bunch of stuff. I think all those things are okay to say. But just the default, because I like Kim, she must not be racist, I think is very problematic, and it doesn't move the ball forward. Moving right along, I want to say that despite the fallen angels that we faced, Nas, Bill Cosby, Kanye West, Chance the Rapper, we still have a very angelic hero in James Shaw Jr., who is the very courageous and heroic man at a Waffle House who stopped the killing. Well, there was a killing. There was a mass shooting at a Waffle House in Tennessee. James Shaw, with his bare hands, stopped the shooting and has also raised $150,000 so far for the victims of the shooting. Now, the victims include 4 people of color, all of whom were in their 20s. Akilah, DeSilva, DeEbony, Groves, Joe Perez, and also Taurean Sanderlin. So I just want to say rest in peace to those fallen angels. And I want to conclude this show, as I do every show, by thanking our friends of the show. If you'd like to become a friend of the show, you can donate $1 or more to the PayPal link above. And this week I am thanking someone who goes by the moniker Poem Slinger. I'm thanking Elizabeth C. Thank you, Elizabeth, for your continued support. I'm thanking Jennifer M., also Stacy B., Ian A., and Shelly B. So again, I'd like to ask you to relax, relate, and resist. Thank you.
Too complex, much too complex, too complex, much too complex, too complex, too complex.